Warning, the following content includes flashing lights, jump scares, and spoilers. Other than that, enjoy the video.
What in the world? How big is this place? Oh, it's you. Where did you come from? Look.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be rating Chapter 4 of Bendy and the Dark Revival. Also, I'm sorry some of the cutscenes got skipped. I thought I already got them, but don't mind it. So it starts us off looking out the window and talking to Little Ink Bendy. So this is pretty cool. I'm glad we got to see more of Little Ink Bendy. And if you hit him with your gent pipe, he actually spins, which I think is pretty cool. You then walk out into the street and go to the gent building, and you figure out that you have to find an ID to get into the gent building. And I think this is actually pretty cool. A street in a Bendy game where it's supposed to be this enclosed studio. I think that's just a pretty cool idea, and I'm glad they made it because it's just really cool to look at.
You'll see.
Looks like we need to find an ID card somewhere around here. Any ideas, Bendy? Right here. Let's go. Right here. Want to get some rocks? Right here. Let's go. Right here. Let's go. Looks like we found a clue.
Oh, yeah? I'll just start my own place! Kill the stranger!
So once we're in the hotel, we only have to go up one more floor, and we end up finding the ID card as long as Joey Drew. And when we see Joey Drew, something cool happens. You'll see.
Well, geez, you haven't gotten far.
Don't do...
All right, Joey. I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see.
Over here. Come have a seat. This won't take long.
So what ends up happening is he takes us to the original Joey Drew Studios, the small little studio on the top floor that Henry used to get through to the ink machine. I thought this was really cool, and it was a throwback to the first game, which I loved. And I think it was just really cool. They added a few secrets in there, even used a line from the first game. I think this part was just so cool to explain Audrey.
Hey, here's an old desk. I bet someone wasted a lot of time in this chair.
At this point, I don't get what Joey's plan is for this company. The animations sure aren't being finished on time anymore, and I simply don't see why we need this machine. It's noisy, it's messy, and it won't need that much ink anyway. Also, get this. Joey had each one of us donate something from our workstation. We put them on these little pedestals in the break room to help appease the gods, and keep things going. I think he's lost his mind, but hey, he writes the checks. But I tell you what, if one more of these pipes burst, I'm out of here.
Where are we?
A very old place. Full of memories. But never mind all that. There's a little story you need to hear. You ready? Here we go. Once upon a time, Audrey, there was a bitter old man who had lost just about everything.
Joey.
Right. The real Joey Drew. He blamed everyone but himself for his mistakes, but mostly he blamed his old business partner for abandoning their work years and years ago. A man by the name of Henry Stein, great artist and a good friend. In his anger, Joey used an evil machine to create another world. A world made of paper and ink, where he'd torment his own version of Henry forevermore. But one day, a miracle happened. An angel came into Joey's life, a young woman by the name of Allison Bendy. She didn't visit often, but when she did, she saw something good in Joey no one else could, including himself. Through their friendship, he began to see the world with better eyes. So one day, in Joey's cartoon cycle of hatred, he gave Henry an angel of his own to guide him when things were most dark, to always provide hope. It was then Joey decided to make something new, something he had always wanted but he could never have: a family. But not a cartoon one, something real. And after many, many tries, he created something that made him happier than he ever could have imagined. A wonderful, loving daughter. Bright, kind, almost human. He created you, Audrey.
What? Are you crazy?
Listen, I know it's a lot to believe.
Who do you think you are? I wasn't born from some machine. Flesh and blood. I'm not some kind of ink monster.
Just because we're born of darkness doesn't mean we belong to it. We're always free to choose, to believe what we want to believe.
Take me back. Right now. I'm not listening to any more of your lies.
Remember who you are, Audrey.
Leave me alone! It's not true. It can't be.
Overall, I think that was a really good part of the chapter. The way everything happened there was just so cool. But back onto the story. Okay, so this is definitely one of the biggest twists in the entire game. Turns out that the ink monster, Demon Bendy, was actually little Ink Man Bendy the whole time. Which makes me really sad, because I thought he would actually be our friend in the story, but no. So, yeah, that's just sad. I wish that hadn't have happened, but I guess it's for the best, and it's a really good twist in the story, and adds a little bit of spice to it, and I like that, but it still makes me sad.
Corporation looking for research subjects pays $3.50 a week. Might be gonna be easy money, right? With my
Alright, so I am so sorry that that part didn't get in the video. So I kind of thought I already had the footage, so I just skipped it. But basically, what the keeper said was someone has broken it. She talked to the keeper, and the keeper decided that she was too dangerous, and she had to be taken by the keepers into the cycle breaker room. After this, we of course decided that we weren't going to take that, and we went into the vent on the side, broke it, and eventually got to this room where you can pull a lever and it'll open a door, revealing the cycle breaker entrance. So in this part, there's a keeper on an audio log, and it turns out the keepers found out a way to turn the ink demon into little ink man Bendy, and they were transporting him somewhere else. They were saying that they have to tell Wilson about it, which leads me to believe that Wilson is their leader, but the fact that we didn't see them in the last game is pretty cool because it leads on the fact that Wilson is creating characters that haven't been created by Joey Drew.
That's where the ghosts live. Just beyond that door. The keeper's prison. The pit. No one ever comes out. At least, they're never quite the same. But I could open the door for you. I do know how. I really do.
Oh, thank you. That would...
But first, maybe play a game? Oh, I love to play games. I like hide and seek best. Find me, and I'll open the door for you. I promise. Look away while I hide, and no peeking.
Alright, so this might not be the same for a lot of people, but I actually kind of like this part. Having to play hide and seek with her actually kind of adds an extra challenge to the game. It's not all just run away from the monsters. The puzzles and the games in this game are actually pretty cool. I like it. So while looking for Heidi, we actually end up finding this separate room with this guy called Big Steve. So I don't know what he's doing here, but yeah, apparently they're running tests on him. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Kind of random though. I don't really know why he's here. We do find this cool ink canister though that we use to upgrade our abilities again. So when we find Heidi, she says that she opened the door, and she ends up giving us this new power that lets us teleport between the ink showers, which I think is pretty cool. It adds a new mechanic to the game that hasn't been seen.
Oh yes, the door. I think you'll find it's open now. Oh, and also, let me give you something. Something special. Just a small reminder of our game together.
we get here, we find the cycle breaker room. And in the cycle breaker room, we find a lot of stuff from the first game, like the head of the recorder guy and contraband of all the items we used last game. And I'm gonna let you look at this part.
Excuse me. Sir? Can you help me?
You must be really lost to be asking me for help.
I'm just looking for answers. About the Keepers, Wilson, the cycle. Anything could help.
What's your name?
Audrey. What's yours?
Honestly, I've almost forgotten. My name is Henry.
Have you been a prisoner long?
When the Keepers think you're a threat to their plans, they lock you away. Forever. Still, it's given me time to think. Things like, if you haven't eaten in years, you might not be human.
Why would you be a threat to them?
I'm what they call a cycle breaker. Once upon a time, I knew how to start the cycle over. And when that happens, everything begins again. Completely new. Obviously, Wilson and the Keepers don't want that to happen.
How did you do it?
Reset the cycle? Turns out the Ink Demon himself is the key. This world is his, but even he must obey its rules. For now, at least. If you can get him to look at something very specific, it will reset everything.
What is it?
It's just a reel of film, labeled with the words, "The End." I can see it in my mind every day. They keep it upstairs in the pit.
I'll see if I can break in and steal it. Maybe, if I reset the cycle, we could make things better for everyone here.
And what about you?
I just want to go home.
So did I. Good luck, Audrey. If you need me again, you know where to find me.
That part is crazy. I loved seeing Henry again. If you didn't know, he's from the first game. He was actually the character we played as, and he explains a bunch of things, revealing most of the secrets of the game, and setting up the rest of it, learning how the Ink Demon comes to be destroyed. And then we end up finding Sammy playing on his banjo when we open the second block, which I think is pretty cool. Also, if you go back far enough, you'll actually find Bertram Piedmont from the first game. If you didn't know, he was the guy that created the Bendy land that actually never got put out to the public. I think this is a pretty cool Easter egg. They have a bunch of Easter eggs like this in the game. I just think it's so cool that even the less memorable characters that people may not even know or notice were there are in this game. I think that's a pretty cool attention to detail. So you walk through this hallway, and once you get to the other side, you try to enter the pit, but you get noticed by a keeper, and a keeper actually comes out of this vent type circular thing and gets you, and you end up spawning in a train for Chapter 5.
Wilson?
Rest yourself, Audrey. You're still weak. The Keepers can be relentless to strangers. But there's nothing to fear as long as I'm with you. You're safe now.
You did this to me. You brought me here. Turned me into this thing. This doesn't make sense. I've never done anything to you.
Open your hand yet. In here, it exists. It breathes. It flourishes. Reality, guided by its master's pen. The foundation for a new reality. We can bleed into our own. Just these angels and demons. Are they really life? Or are they just stains? Old mistakes ready to be cleansed away for newer, greater things. We'll talk more once we're safely inside.
And there it is. Chapter 4 is over. This is probably my favorite chapter. I know Chapter 5 is really good, but this is definitely my favorite. All of the things that happened in it, the flashback, it was just so good. I don't know why, but this was just a great chapter. So, yeah, now onto the ratings where I'll explain why I said that. By the way, since so much happened in Chapter 5, I'm gonna have to use clips from other games instead of it because I just don't want to spoil any of it. Alright, here we go into the design. So I think the design on this chapter is probably the best in the entire game, and here's why. It starts off with you talking to little ink man Bendy, who looks pretty good. He's shiny, you can hit him and his head will spin, so I think that's pretty nice. And you look out to the city, and it just looks so good. It looks like an actual city that you would see in real life, except it abides to the laws of the ink realm and all of the visuals that comes with it. And then the hotel, all of the buildings, they look really good. Once you go into the old studio with Joey Drew bringing back the memory, I like how many secrets there are there, like the Wally Franks audio, and you walking up to Henry's old desk and saying, I bet there's someone that spent a lot of time in this desk. And I really like that. I really like how much detail they put into that part when they didn't really need to. It kind of brought me back to the good old days of Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 1, when people had no idea what this game was going to be about. And then it brought you into the Gent building, and we figured out that the Ink Demon was actually Little Inkman Bendy all along. And inside the Gent building, there are the Keepers. And I think the Keepers, I don't know about them. They have a cool design. They were supposed to be created by Wilson. But, I don't know. I feel like they just didn't fit in. They could have at least made them something else that looked like a different character. But it just didn't really fit. And all of the colored lightning bolts, I think were also pretty cool. So, yeah, for the design, I'm going to have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. This was a crazy chapter for design, and I hope more chapters are like this if there is another Bendy game. Alright, now onto the story. So the story in this chapter is also really good. It starts with you talking to Little Inkman Benny, and you two decide to team up to try to get into the Gent building. And so, you go looking outside, down the street, and you find this tape by a person named Kitty. And she basically talks about how there's this big Gent Corporation building that has been kind of ruining the neighborhood. And yeah, they're just kind of angry about it. And then you move along through the alleyway and eventually get to the hotel. At the hotel, you go up to the top floor and you find Joey Drew and the ID card. Joey Drew takes you to the main studio where they used to work, and basically you walk around if you want to, but he shows you this big tape about basically Joey Drew's life and how he was mad because his business was failing, and he blamed his old co-worker, and then someone good came into his life and saw things in himself that no one else did. So he eventually takes you back, and then you go to the Jet building where you find that little ink man Bendy was actually normal Bendy, the ink demon, all along. I thought this was really sad. It still makes me sad right now because he was just such a good character up until that point. I wish he was not actually the ink demon. So then you go through and you find the keepers. And the keepers don't want you in there. They think you're a threat to them. So they try to catch you. They try to knock you out and put you in the cycle breaker room. But you get out through a vent and end up actually getting into the cycle breaker room. And you meet Henry. And Henry tells you that you have to go get to the pit, where you would find the end tape, and you would have to show it to Bendy to end the cycle. But while trying to get into the pit, you get stopped by a keeper, and that's when the chapter ends. You find Wilson, and then the chapter ends. So, yeah, overall in the story, I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. It's a really good chapter for story 2. It tells us about Audrey's backstory and how she was actually created by Joey Drew in the ink machine. So I think it's pretty cool. Alright, now on to the characters. I think the characters are still pretty good this chapter, but it's a little weaker than other chapters. So, first of all, we've got Little Ink Man Bendy. As usual, he carried. He was really good. He showed up a lot this chapter, which I liked, and he actually teamed up with us. He led us to the clue, so that was pretty nice. Next up, we've got the Ink Demon. The Ink Demon didn't show up as much, but that huge twist at the, midway point, I really liked that. I really liked how they did that. And we've got Audrey. Audrey learns a lot about herself. She's kind of in denial, though. She's kind of trying to avoid the fact that she's Joey Drew's daughter and not actually a real person, just made of the ink. But I think eventually she'll get there. She'll, realize herself and accept herself for who she is. Next we've got Joey Drew. Joey Drew is a great character in this chapter, or at least the memory of Joey Drew is, and he just tells that great story of Audrey and Joey Drew at his worst. So, yeah, he's a really good character in this chapter. Next up, we've got the Keepers. The Keepers were introduced in this chapter. I don't think they look too good, but they definitely have a nice story, obeying Wilson and kind of being his servants in a way. And I really like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the characters in this chapter. And, yeah, I'm going to give the characters a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, so overall for this chapter, I'm going to have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. My highest rating so far. It's just a really good chapter. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say besides from that. And unfortunately, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Make sure to check out Bendy and the Dark Revival on Steam. It's a really good game. And I know this video was shorter than usual. I only covered one chapter today because they deserve their own videos. Chapters 4 and 5 are really big chapters. And yeah, I don't think I could have compressed it into one video with them still being good. And yeah, I spent a lot of time on this video. If you could like and subscribe, that would be greatly, really appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!